I don't know about you guys, but I have a serious mess in my garage. Look at all this fishing tackle behind me. I need to clean that stuff up, but that's not the mission today. The mission today is to go scout for trout. I have been putting in a lot of hours on the computer trying to find spots on Google Maps where I think trout might live, but today I gotta get in the car and go drive. Now I'm bringing some fishing poles with me, but I have pretty limited expectations with regards to actually catching a fish today. Today's goal is mostly about finding waters that I feel will hold trout in the future and have good access from bank. So enough yipping and yapping, let's hop in the car and roll to the spots. Let's go.
Oh, let's hit the road, boys.
Working on a building and I'm building on it all.
Okay, spot number one, and I'm trying to get a feel for if I can even walk down there. I'm gonna try it. I don't know if this is gonna be very accessible from the bank or not. The only way to find out is by going. Also, it's snowing outside right now. Rooster tail right here, and we're gonna walk over there and just see what we can find.
Looks like we got some pretty good bank access. I can't tell what this normally would look like though. I have a feeling it's really high right now. The big question is, where do these fish spend their winters? Gotta find deep pools, I feel like. Okay, so my overall impressions of this spot is the water seems pretty deep. It feels pretty accessible from the bank. I think it's a little high right now, so probably not the perfect conditions. Obviously the water's really muddy right now, as you can see. There goes a kingfisher. That's a good sign, right? Kingfisher like to eat fish. All right, let's roll.
Just pulled up to the second spot, and this is actually a spot that I've seen they do in fact stock trout here. I don't know exactly where they put them in, but it's good to know that there are trout here, obviously.
Both spots I've seen so far look really promising though, I'm not gonna lie. As you guys can see, there's a ton of trees lining the bank, so I feel like it would make it pretty hard to fly fish effectively. And again, I'm trying to conventionally fish, but I'm just trying to think about other fishermen that come here, what kind of pressure this place would get. I have a feeling it probably gets quite a bit just based on the fact that there's a lot of bank that you can fish, but fly fishing would be pretty tough. So these trout that are in here probably do see a lot of spinners. That snow is really picking up down here.
I'm starting to think I should have went sledding instead of scouting for trout. But honestly, the two spots that I've checked out so far look really promising, and I'm really excited to try them once the water clears up. Some Michigan trout streams are not open all year long. These ones are actually open all year long, so that's good, so I can come back anytime I want. I'm not sure when they're gonna be the most productive, but I guess that's just part of the learning process. The biggest concern with this location is just how easy it is to fish. My guess is it just gets hammered after they stock trout, so it's probably not something that I'm gonna wanna fish a lot, but from time to time when there's less people fishing it, it might not be bad to give it a shot. Okay, we just got to the next spot. It looks pretty solid. I can't really tell how much bank access there is, but it looks pretty decent. Let's just take a quick gander. I don't even know if I'm gonna fish here. I don't feel like it's really worth it with these high muddy conditions. That looks solid right there. Overall, it looks pretty good, but man, I'm getting snow all up in my face. It looks really good, but it's just so high and muddy right now, so it's really not worth fishing, but it's a great day for just kind of, you know, scouting it out. I recommend that anyone that is trying to get better at fishing and just finding new areas, you just have to go out there, get on Google Maps a lot, and then actually drive around and explore a little bit. Obviously, you don't want to just burn gas all day long, but sometimes it's worth just going and investigating. I always bring rods and reels with me, but sometimes my expectations are about finding new spots rather than actually catching a bunch of fish.
I don't even know why I'm fishing. Looks like another spot that's gonna have a little bit of bank access. Not a ton, but enough to hopefully catch a fish or two in the future. Looks like there's gonna be just a little bit of bank access, but for the most part, I'm gonna have to wade in here. Otherwise, I can just fish under the bridge on all four corners of the bridge. Once the water's down a little bit, I'll probably be able to sneak this way just a little bit. But overall, it seems like it's pretty deep in here. And again, it's just too high to know exactly what's going on. Ooh, man, this is gonna be my favorite spot I've seen yet. Look at that. This spot is a much smaller creek, and with these two big drainages, this looks juicy. This is kind of not a great spot to fish from the bank. Oh my gosh, these thorns. Ow. Ah, get out of here, thorns. If the water wasn't moving so fast, I feel like I would definitely catch a fish here. This looks so good. Gotta hop across the street and look what the other side looks like. Hands down, this was my favorite spot that I found. I feel really, really good about this. I feel like it's very promising. I don't know what kind of pressure it gets. It's right off of a major road, so there's probably a good amount of people that have tried it before. But sometimes the most obvious spots are really overlooked. This is such a narrow little stream right here. They say there's trout that get stocked in here though. Well, out of all the spots that I've found today, I feel like this is probably the least likely that I'll come back to. It's just too narrow, and it's just such fast moving water. I have a feeling if you were to find where this bends, it might create like a little bit of a pool, and that would probably be a high productivity spot. But for this right here, it's just too fast.
She got that ring around the collar, got that ring stuck through her nose.
Oh, okay, today I think was honestly a success, and here's why. I don't think a lot of YouTube fishermen do a great job of showing the process of learning how to catch a new fish. I'm gonna be honest with you, I probably caught less than 50 trout in my entire life. I'm not a trout fisherman, I just haven't done it a lot, like many of you probably. And with the goal of becoming a better trout fisherman, I want to document that entire process. So that means that that's gonna be scouting missions, that means that's gonna be a lot of failed attempts, that means that there's gonna be some serious rewards along the way. But it's gonna take time. And that's one thing that I'm willing to commit to, is taking the time to becoming a better fisherman. I'm gonna try to document that to the best of my ability. Sure, there's gonna be some trips where I don't catch any fish, and sure, I'm gonna scrap a lot of that footage as well. But in the long run, I think this will be beneficial to you as well as me, so that way along the way we can learn together. Anyways, let's talk about some of the baits that I've used to date, and then some of the baits that I want to use in the future. And then obviously there's some other ones that I haven't purchased yet that I think will be good as well. I'm sticking predominantly to ultralight fishing. Eventually I will probably get more into fly fishing, but for now I think ultralight fishing is just the thing I want to do. Obviously, I think that spinners are gonna be some of my best friends for trout fishing. Not only do people say they work really well, but the water that I've been fishing is kind of stained, and it's got a lot of depth to it, and it's moving really freaking fast. And so running a spinner through some of those deeper holes, I think is gonna be one of the best ways to catch these trout. Some of the other baits that I wanna use are spoons. I don't really know much about how to work a spoon for trout, but that's something I'm just gonna have to try to learn. I feel like if I just kind of twitch them off the bottom, maybe some of those trout will hit them. Maybe I'll learn that it's just gonna snag too much and it's a waste of my time. I don't know, haven't tried it yet. I think this puppy is gonna be my favorite thing to throw. I've caught fish on it in the past, and I have a feeling it's going to absolutely smoke them in the right conditions. This is just a Rapala original, and it's a little bit larger bait, and you can work it really aggressively, and I think these brown trout are gonna absolutely smoke it. But it's just gonna take a lot of time, and the big thing with this is there's a lot of trees and stuff in the water, and so I'm nervous that I'm gonna snag it a lot, but that's part of the game, my friends. One other thing that I actually wanna use is some small little jig heads. These ones are actually ones that my friend Dave tied for me. They're just like almost like a crappie jig, but I think they'll work pretty well for trout in the right situations. These are really, really light, so I'll have to use them in probably slower moving water, stuff that's not really high like it was today. So I'm gonna have to be patient and wait until the right conditions, but some of these small micro jigs I think will work really well if I want to just slow drift them through, you know, some slower moving water. And while we're talking about jigs, obviously I'm going to be throwing a lot of mule jigs. The mule jigs have worked for me in the past, and I know they're going to work for me in the future. I just have a ton of confidence in them, and I think that 1/32 ounce size is going to be just really killer for trout. I think when the water's really slow and not moving very fast, I think the 1/64 will actually work pretty well as well. One thing that I'd like to try is, rather than plastics, I want to try just putting a wax worm on it and fishing it really slow and just seeing if I can get one to just slurp it up real quick. Regardless, I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Oh, we have a monster! It's a monster! Ah, monster!